This movie is excellent on every level possible.
This is a beautiful movie with great performances in it.
Images from this film stay in my mind.
I think it's just almost like a perfect movie.
It is definitely an essential.
The Shop Around the Corner, 1940.
Jimmy Stewart is wonderful, but when wasn't Jimmy Stewart wonderful?
I think this is the best of the four films that Margaret Sullavan and Jimmy Stewart made together.
I think it's what Lubitsch sort of does. I mean, The Shop Around the Corner leaves you feeling hopeful.
Everybody has a favorite Christmas movie. This one's mine.
Excuse me, but may I tell you my qualifications?
Look, if I could do anything for you, I'd do it.
You know, I'm not an inexperienced girl.
Yes, but I know the situation here, and there's no chance.
I worked for 2 years at Glossier Company, and I left of my own accord. And before that, I was with Latsko Brothers for 10 months.
My dear child, even if you'd worked at Mintz and Cromer...
I did! I know how to take care of the finest clientele.
Well, we don't deal with that class of people here. We just have middle-class trade.
Middle class? What kind of trade do you think Glossier Company has? And they'd take me back right this minute.
Why don't you go back?
Well, that's another story.
We all have our favorite Christmas movies. I have to say that this next one, The Shop Around the Corner, is mine. But the great thing about it is the fact it doesn't have to be Christmas to really love this film.
Yeah.
I think it's a sweet movie. It's so Ernst Lubitsch.
Yes.
With its touches, its characters. I think it's just an incredible accomplishment.
Well, I love this movie, too. Again, I seem to be liking or loving a lot of these, but I love this movie.
Well, they're essential. You're supposed to love them.
They are essential.
Yes.
This certainly is, to take a look at Lubitsch's work. But to me, it's also that it's this ensemble of players and wonderful actors. It isn't just the two leads, Jimmy Stewart and Margaret Sullavan. It is Frank Morgan and one of my favorite character actors, which is Felix Broussard.
That's beautiful.
William Tracy, who plays the young clerk.
Then there's Charles Smith, who comes in at the very end,
Right.
which is one of the pivotal scenes of the movie that
Right.
he has with Frank Morgan. It's so Lubitsch in that it leaves you feeling that when things are really, really without hope, that people rise up, that there's a goodness in people somehow. And like I say, it isn't just the leads, because Margaret Sullavan, she did some wonderful films, but she was never one of my favorites.
Right.
I never really was drawn to her, but she's in such great movies with people like Jimmy Stewart, and he clearly is smitten with her, so
Right.
I go with it.
Right. She had that wonderful voice and was obviously a very complicated person.
That's what I've read.
You know, people seldom go to the trouble of scratching the surface of things to find the inner truth.
Well, I really wouldn't care to scratch your surface, Mr. Crowley.
And it's a charming film, and it's a great, as we say, a great example, if you're talking about Ernst Lubitsch, what he contributed to a movie.
Yeah.
Because you could take the same movie and give it to another director, and same cast and everything, and it wouldn't be the same film at all.
No, I know, and he had a certain look to his films.
The
way you just could turn on the TV and go, oh, Lubitsch, this has got to be a Lubitsch film. I'm a fan.
It's also interesting, I think, that although it takes place in, is it Hungary?
Yes.
Yes, but they all have American accents.
I know.
And
I
there's
know.
nobody that was more American looking than Jimmy Stewart.
I know.
But he doesn't put on an accent or
No.
try anything, but you buy it, you go into it, and
Yes.
you say it's okay.
And, you know, the store and the names in the store and all
Right.
of that
They're
are
all
obviously
Hungarian.
Hungarian. And you have a feeling of sort of the brewing of political issues there, but it's so far away from the little bubble of this world, Manichek and company that they create.
Yeah. Well, let's see the film. Here it is, a film that gets better each time you see it. A true essential from 1940 and directed by Ernst Lubitsch. The Shop Around the Corner.